You ever notice how many problems aren't usually dramatic? They're not movie-style disasters where someone bursts into a room yelling about bankruptcy. It's quieter than that. It's more like standing at the grocery checkout, pretending you're mentally calculating calories when you're actually calculating whether your car will go through. It's that little pause before you hit confirm payment. That tiny knot in your stomach when rent is due in 3 days and your account is doing that thing where it technically has money, but not real money. Or maybe it's smaller. Your car makes a weird noise, and instead of thinking, I'll get that checked, you think, please survive just one more month. You tell yourself it's fine. You turn the music up so you can't hear it. That's a financial decision, by the way. And honestly, I've spent way too much of my life thinking about moments like that. The weird emotional psychology behind money, why a few $1,000s can feel like oxygen while a big windfall sometimes just disappears. Except real life isn't math. And the surprising thing, the thing most people don't realize until they've lived through it, is that a small pile of money in the right place at the right time changes how you think. And once your thinking changes, your behavior changes. And once your behavior changes, well, everything downstream starts to shift. So what if the real power of money isn't in how much it buys, but in what it removes? What if $5,000 doesn't make you rich, but it quietly flips a mental switch? That $50,000 often doesn't. That's what we're unpacking today. And if you've ever felt like you're working hard but never quite breathing easy, this might hit a little close to home. Here's something weird about humans. We don't actually chase more. We say we do. We post about it. Hustle culture, grind mindset, you know the vibe. But biologically, emotionally, what we're really chasing is enough. Enough to not worry. Enough to sleep. Enough to stop doing math in our head at red lights. And $5,000 often lives exactly in that enough zone. Let me paint this. Imagine someone living paycheck to paycheck. No savings. Credit card balance hovering like a cloud. One flat tire away from financial chaos. In that life, every decision has pressure attached. Groceries aren't just groceries, they're trade-offs. Dinner out equals stress tomorrow. Life becomes a constant series of micro-calculations. Now drop $5,000 into that person's world. Suddenly, the flat tire is an inconvenience, not a crisis. The car repair doesn't go on a credit card. The electric bill isn't a countdown timer. The mental noise drops. It's like someone turned down static you didn't even know was there. That's not luxury. That's stability. Now picture $50,000. Sounds life-changing, right? But here's the twist. For someone already in survival mode, a big lump sum often doesn't create stability. It creates movement. They pay debts, maybe upgrade something they've been denying themselves for years, help family, cover delayed expenses. And because the system of their life hasn't changed, the money flows through like water through a pipe. $50,000 can become a big exhale. $5,000 can become a foundation. One is relief. The other is control. And control is the thing that actually changes behavior. There's research in behavioral science about something called cognitive bandwidth. Basically, when your brain is busy worrying about urgent problems, it has less capacity for long-term thinking. Scarcity eats mental RAM. Ever try to focus on a movie when you really have to pee? That's your brain on financial stress. You're not bad with money. You're distracted. When you're worried about covering bills, your brain narrows its focus to now. That's why long-term planning feels exhausting. Retirement, investments, skill building, your brain is like, cool, but we're trying to not drown this week. That's where $5,000 is magic. It buys time, not literally, but psychologically. It creates breathing room, and breathing room restores mental bandwidth. Suddenly, you can think. You can compare options. You can say no to a bad deal because you're not desperate. That's huge. $50,000 doesn't necessarily fix bandwidth if the person still lives in reactive mode. Without habits, the brain goes right back to stress patterns once the balance drops. But $5,000 that becomes an emergency buffer? That's a permanent upgrade to how your brain operates. You stop firefighting and start planning. That's not a financial shift. That's a neurological one. Let's be honest. Most people don't believe they're good with money. There's shame tied up in it. Old mistakes. Debt. Impulse purchases. That one subscription you forgot about for 2 years. It adds up emotionally. Now imagine someone finally saves $5,000 or receives it and doesn't blow it. That's a win, a real one. And wins change identity. It's like going to the gym once doesn't make you fit, but it makes you someone who goes to the gym, and that identity starts to snowball. A $5,000 buffer turns someone from "I'm always broke" into "I have savings." That sentence changes posture. It changes confidence. It changes decisions. $50,000 often feels like luck, a bonus, a gift, something external. $5,000 saved or protected feels like proof. And people protect proof of who they're becoming. This is the part nobody likes to admit. Money doesn't fix habits. It amplifies them. If someone has no system, no awareness, no spending boundaries, $50,000 just gives them a bigger stage to repeat patterns. It's like giving a messy person a bigger closet. Doesn't make them organized, just hides the mess longer. But $5,000 is small enough that you have to think about it. It forces intentionality. You don't casually spend $5,000. You assign it a job, emergency fund, car repair fund, rent buffer. That act, assigning money a purpose, is the beginning of financial literacy in practice, not theory. Financial stress makes people do expensive things. Late fees, high-interest loans, overdraft charges, panic decisions, taking the first job offer instead of the right one, staying in toxic work environments because quitting feels risky. $5,000 interrupts that cycle. It lets you pause before saying yes. It lets you avoid predatory options. It lets you negotiate. Walk away. Think. That pause is worth more than luxury purchases. It's the difference between reacting and choosing. When people fantasize about $50,000, they picture upgrades. New couch, better car. Vacation. And those are fun. No judgment. But the upgrade that truly shifts a life is invisible. Reduce background anxiety. You know that low-level tension you don't notice until it's gone? Like when a loud fan finally turns off? That's what a small financial cushion does. It upgrades your baseline emotional state. And from a calmer baseline, people make smarter long-term decisions. $50,000 is impact. Big splash. $5,000 used well is momentum. Momentum means repeated good decisions. Momentum compounds. Momentum builds systems. Impact fades. Momentum grows. And wealth, real, durable wealth, is built by momentum, not moments. So yeah, $50,000 is amazing. Nobody's turning that down. But the reason $5,000 can change a life more is because it shifts the game from survival to stability, from panic to planning, from reaction to intention. It buys quiet. It buys space. It buys the ability to think past Friday. And once someone experiences that, they don't want to go back. They start protecting that feeling, building on it, making choices that keep them in that calmer state. That's where habits form. That's where identities shift. That's where trajectories change. Money isn't just numbers. It's emotional leverage. And sometimes a small lever, placed in exactly the right spot, moves everything. So if you're not at $50,000 yet, that's fine. Not louder, just steadier. And honestly, steady wins.